I did an NAD IV today. And what have you heard about NAD, Rhett? You're pretty savvy. I know you're on the blogs. What have you heard?
Well, I haven't heard much on it other than okay, so it's nicotinamide. So I'm gonna ask you though, what's the difference between that and nicotinamide riboside?
Yeah, it's different constituents. So NAD is the actual cofactor that's used in your mitochondria to
Is
produce.
this
It carries like
an
what's that?
aging? Is this an aging technique or is this for detox?
It actually was originally dubbed. I did it via IV. So NAD, nicotine, and nicotinamide, adenine dinucleotide, and that's why obviously they say for short it's NAD. And basically, do you remember learning about Krebs cycle, citric acid? Like um,
Been too
electron
long.
transport chain. When you create energy, the last step in it, you need this thing called NAD to move electrons. So imagine that your cells mitochondria is the power plant, and imagine that you have big pickup trucks or dump trucks that are carrying cofactors to be used. That's NAD, are basically your pickup trucks. And as you age, you run out of those, so it's really hard for your mitochondria to produce energy.
Hmm.
So your mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell, and if you're unable to produce energy, then your cells can't they can't do anything. And so originally, though, people were using NAD for opiate addictions. And then a couple people used it on themselves and noticed an increased amount of energy. So,
What's the theory on that for opiate addiction?
yeah, something with it kind of resets the cells. So, like one of the things with, opiate addiction, I think opiates work on the mu receptor and they get down regulated. And when you can repower up the mitochondria, it's able to, and I'm kind of talking out my butt here, man, kind of clean everything out quicker and better. Does that make sense? Like it regenerates the cell quicker when it has more cofactors, makes the cell healthier, so it can take
Okay.
more damage, more or less. So it kind of gets it back online. And NAD, there are some people that take it orally. I'm not really that sure how well it gets absorbed. It's a really big molecule,
Hmm.
so that's why a lot of people are doing it intravenously. I did it today though, and it does. I was listening to Ben.
You feel it?
Yeah, well, in a couple of ways. So Ben Greenfield was on Joe Rogan talking about it. Before that, Joe Rogan had David Sinclair on talking, and he's a big NAD researcher. And they use it on rats, and they're doing all these clinical trials. And Ben Greenfield said he did the dose I did today in like 15 minutes, and he was like ready to throw up. And I took mine
Oh,
for an hour and a.
okay. I
You know what I'm
remember.
talking
Now
about?
I remember this conversation. Yeah, yeah. So it is it like a burning sensation or makes you nauseous? What is it? When
Yeah. I mean, it makes me your stomach keel over. I was a little bit lightheaded.
where did you? Was it sub? Was it in a fat like
IV.
muscle? I know
Yeah.
where. Oh, so in your vein. Okay, yeah, I
Yeah,
got
it
you.
goes directly in your vein. So you put it, yeah,
Uh,
you put it in an IV bag and it goes directly into your vein. Um, it usually takes an hour to 2 hours. And yeah, the faster it went, the more uncomfortable I got. Unfortunately, I had a patient today, so I didn't get a chance to really turn it up and see just how tough it was.
yeah.
But we'll see. When I was working at Next Health, the CEO of the company was doing one because he heard really good things about it.
Uh-huh.
And I walked in on him while he was doing it, and he was like keeled over, like not doing well. He's like, Dr. Moeller, I don't know if we're going to offer this therapy. I can't hardly stand this stuff. And I saw him the next day. And he's like, Dr. Moeller, I feel great. Stuff is awesome. It's totally worth it. We're going to put
Oh
it
man.
online. And then again, I saw him like a week later, and I've been hearing really good things from my colleagues about it. So I went ahead and tried it out today on myself. And I would say that I feel maybe 10 to 20%, a little more energetic, a little more vitality. So, but I mean, we'll
Then
kind of,
that. So, question: how often do you need to do this, or how often should you do it?
well, I think they don't really know yet because the therapy hasn't been really out that long.
Okay, so not how else should you, but what do most people? I mean, does the effects where often you can do it again, or is this something that like, just a few times a year people do it usually, or what?
I mean, some people think, just like we'll get into talking about testosterone, that it might actually downregulate your body's own ability to produce
That's
it.
what I was wondering. Yeah, that's what I was
Yeah,
wondering. Okay.
it's a real concern, but I don't think we have enough anecdotal evidence
Yeah.
right now to make
Hey man,
that
I try anything. I try anything once.
exactly. And that's kind of where I was at. I'm like, let's give it a run. I don't think it's gonna, do
Yeah.
anything extremely bad.
Hey,
So
so you mentioned the opiate addiction, how that could be potentially, something to help with that. What about ibogaine as
yep,
opiate? So is this a similar? I mean, I know that's also a
yeah.
psychedelic and has like these